What's going on, everyone? Dayton here, aka Dr. Autoflower, and we are back with another video. Just want to say big thank you to everyone who smashed that like button in the last video, left a comment, left a question. Really helps, and we got some good traction on there, so let's try to do that again. Let's try to set a goal of 1,000 likes on this video. If you guys can hit that, I would be super appreciative. It really helps the algorithm. And of course, leave a question if you want to be featured in the question and answer videos. And make sure you guys put your questions in the comment section down below. Don't email them to me. I don't really respond to questions sent to my email because it's much better if you put a question in the comment section below, because then everyone can see it and then everyone can learn from it too. So it helps the community. Also, if you guys haven't checked out the documentary vlog I did at Shambhala, I released that a little while ago, and I'll put that in the comment section below in the description. If you guys can go there and smash the like button on that, it would really help. Leave a comment on that video too. Help get some traction. I put a lot of work into that one. That was my one of my big projects of the year. But without any further ado, let's get right into the questions, guys. SM Dupas asks, do you leave the fan on when the lights are off? Yes, definitely I do. When you leave the fan off when the lights are off, it's really bad, other than maybe when you're veg, because the humidity gets really high. So if you're in flower and your humidity is getting up to freaking 80, 90%, I've seen it at like 95 before, just like super humid. You open up and you're like, oh no, what did I do? Because there was times where I went in there and did some like filming. I would turn the fan off just so it wasn't so loud, and then I would forget to put it back on. And oh man, I'd like really kick myself in the butt when I did that. So definitely watch out for that. I always recommend you do that. If you're new to growing, that is a must. Leave your outtake fan on like all the time. Same as your fans blowing inside. I leave that on 24/7, always blowing them around. It's just good to have air movement all the time. You don't really want stagnant air just sitting there in between the leaves, especially during flower time, because it's definitely more susceptible to molds and mildews, leaves touching each other, resting on each other. The humidity gets trapped between those leaves, and when it's super humid, it just really gets like, they get wet. So you really don't want to do that. That's definitely not good, especially if you got buds on them. Always have a fan going, and always having an excess outtake fan, taking that humidity out. Next question, Aaron Fleet asks, when do you start flushing? So I actually start flushing, I want a minimum 3 weeks. Sometimes I take it a little bit longer. I don't do the 2-week flush like everyone does. I do a 3-week flush. It's just how I like to do it. I do kind of a slower flush. I don't do massive flushes with 3 times the amount like you're supposed to. I used to take it into the bathtub and do that. I just don't do that anymore. I just do a longer flush, and it seems to do just as good, but you just process more water through it through a longer period of time. That's just how I do it. That's how I like it. Everyone's setup's different. If I had a dedicated spot or something where I could easily remove that water and not have to take it into my bathroom, I would probably go back to that. But because I don't have that kind of setup, I like to do it this way. So you can do it whatever way suits your situation best. For me, I like to do a long flush at least 3 weeks before. So, and that also depends on what you're growing. So if you know you're going to be done in, let's say 8.5 weeks, then you're going to start, 3 weeks before that end. Or if you want to do the 2 weeks flush, then you're going to start 2 weeks before the end. As Dis Medical asks, do you dechlorinate or let your water sit 24 hours, or is it just straight up from the tap? No, I actually do dechlorinate. I would at least sit my water out for 24 hours, do it the night before, let it just sit all day, and let the chlorine evaporate out. Preferably, I would want to let it sit for 2 days at least, but sometimes I just do it 1 day. But the certain time I do use just straight from the tap is the end of flower. When I'm doing the flush, I would just get it straight from the tap, put it in there while I'm flushing the plants, because it's just, I don't have enough room to dechlorinate that much when you're flushing, because you kind of need more. During flushing, I usually need a bit more water than I can usually hold. So I just go straight from the tap and just pour it in. I'm not too worried about the like shock from it or whatever. I think it kind of helps because you want to kind of shock them a bit, because you would think that would make more trichomes to help protect the plant because it thinks it's getting colder outside. And also I haven't noticed much of a difference at all between dechlorinating during flush and not dechlorinating. So I'm just not dechlorinating now, I'm just straight from the tap. Chris Perrine asks, it's day 22 veg cycle. My plant is only 7 inches tall but looks great, looks healthy, has a ton of new growth. Is this good or bad? I don't have a picture in front of me, but it sounds like it's doing okay, and that's about the time when you start seeing the much faster growth in the plants. From like week 3 to week 5 is when you really start seeing a lot of growth, the explosive growth I call it. I would say you should be good. If it looks healthy, then that's a really good sign. If it looks weak and not growing much and not producing new growth, then I would be worried. So I think you're doing fine. James Runyon asks, I'm getting yellow leaves. What causes this in autoflowers? So normally before, when I was getting yellow leaves on my autoflowers, it usually was from pH lockout. And the reason why is when your pH is off, not the optimum range, your plant can't uptake the nutrients and it pretty much locks it out, and it just becomes deficient, starts yellowing up leaves, and it looks like it's needing more nitrogen, and you probably add more nitrogen, and because your pH is messed up, it can't uptake it still, so it just like makes it worse. So that's usually a really big thing. You want to make sure your pH is in optimum range. That's why I use the pH Perfect. When I was going without pH Perfect in just Pro Mix, I would usually want to be around like 6.1 to 6.5, around that range. Now that I switched to Advanced Nutrients pH Perfect, I don't really even have to check anymore. I just mix it in at whatever nutrient level I need, and it just pretty much makes the pH what it needs to be. So that makes it a lot easier. I don't really have that issue anymore, so that was a big one I was having because my pH, my water can really fluctuate, and it makes it really annoying. And if I don't have a good calibrated pH meter, it can make it really hassle and not fun. So I would say that is the biggest number one cause of that. Also, it could be a CalMag deficiency, because LED lights, they make plants use more calcium magnesium for some reason compared to like growing outside or growing under HPS. But for some reason they want more CalMag while growing under LED lights. Not sure why, but I always give my autoflowers and regular plants at least 1 or 2 blasts of CalMag throughout the growth. Usually in the end of veg, and I want to do it before I start seeing any signs of CalMag deficiencies. I want to do it a little preemptive blast of CalMag and get it in the proper range for when you go into flower, and you can finish off before you actually want to start seeing some yellowing. So that's what I kind of do. So for autoflowers, I think I usually do it around the week 4 range. Week 4 to 5 is when I give it a CalMag blast. You could also be getting some yellowing when you're not watering your plants. If your plants are wilting lots, it can seem to cause yellowing of the lower leaves going upwards, and I have noticed that before when I frequently missed waterings a bit. The yellowing really kicked in. So Jonathan Kravitz asks, can you recommend a good par meter? Yes, I can. Apogee would probably be your best bet. That's the Bruce Bugbee company. He's the guy who wrote the book on this stuff. So definitely, if you want the best par meter you can get, that's the one to probably go for. I'm pretty sure there's some cheaper options now too. Some of the, I think LED light companies have some out too. I'm not too sure on those ones. But if you want a cheap, decent one on your phone, if you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars, you can get Photone. That's one I've tried out, and I really had to kind of like twist my phone around, but I did a test with my Apogee meter. I did that with my phone, and I would just twist and twist and wait till I saw the highest reading, and it was really accurate, and that was on my Pixel 3a. So I thought it was actually pretty good. It was off by like 10 par, So that's actually really, really good for, I'm not sure how much it is now. I think I used a free version, but I'm guessing the paid version's better. Um, but yeah, that's probably a really good one to try out. Then you're not spending a couple $100s, and all I had to do was just get the highest reading going like that with my phone, because your sensor reads it. So it works. I tested with an actual apogee meter, and it was very, very close. So I was pretty impressed, and I did multiple readings, and it was pretty much 10 to 15 par difference always. So that is really, really good. So it's not 100% accurate, but pretty damn close, for especially for the money. And it's such a big thing too, to know your par, to know exactly what your plant's getting. Definitely a valuable piece of information, and really helps you in the garden once you start using it to your advantage. Definitely a valuable piece of technology, and can be very valuable in the garden and help you a lot, and really help up your game with reading your plants. Kelso asks, what do you consider as day one? For day one, I would consider it once the seed opens and the leaves are exposed, that is when I consider day one. And a lot of people don't realize that's how fast autoflowers can be finished. They can be done in like 65 days, 68 days or something like that for the faster ones. Be a tiny little guy day one, and you're getting massive chunky autoflowers day 65. So that's it for this question and answer, guys. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you leave a comment and your question, and I'll get to it in the next episode. And until next time, guys, peace out, and we'll catch you guys later.